thank you all for joining us. This is part of our effort to focus on the work of our Justice Advisory Council in funding essential programs and preparing for future investment in our county. Over the course of the summer, I've had the privilege of visiting some phenomenal community organizations serving residents in North Lawndale, Austin, the western suburbs, Little Village, and now South Shore. Each of these communities has a unique story and character. Yet, due to racism, they've experienced disinvestment in one form or another. Some of the tragic consequences of this historical disinvestment are cycles of violence and incarceration that we see today. That being said, we also know that the issues of community violence and crime will not be solved solely by police or courts or jail. We cannot police our way out of this crisis. We cannot incarcerate our way out of this crisis. Instead, the real solutions to the issues we're facing lie in creating equity across our county by providing opportunities in disinvested communities and investing in our people so that they have a chance to thrive. And that's what we're here to do today. I'm proud to announce a $200,000 grant from the Cook County Justice Advisory Council, or the JAC, to Lawrence Hall to further their work in recidivism reduction and violence prevention in our communities. Organizations like Lawrence Hall are doing the vital work in areas of our county that have been most impacted by community violence and crime. As you'll hear more about in a moment, Lawrence Hall works with young people who've previously been involved with our criminal justice system and who are at risk of further involvement. They provide wraparound services that address mental health and is trauma-informed while providing educational and employment support. This approach has been proven to change lives, and we're proud to support it. Working with a mentor and a case manager is often a turning point for a young person who has missed out on the opportunities they deserve. We'll hear from one of those case managers, Aaron Brown, in just a moment. Programs like these provide real solutions for people who need the most help and to break out of the cycles of violence and imprisonment that damage our communities. Yet we acknowledge that this is hard work and that this is just the beginning. The Justice Advisory Council has awarded $1.5 million in grants to community organizations this summer. Yet this investment is just a starting point in a targeted investment strategy on behalf of the county. You'll hear more in the coming months. The Cook County Equity Fund will bring an additional $120 million to bear over the next few years to build wealth in communities most impacted by disinvestment and provide wraparound services and support for our neighbors who need it most. The funding being stewarded by the Equity Fund Task Force will bring systemic change to our criminal justice system and reimagine how we think about public safety in our neighborhoods. I want to thank Lawrence Hall for hosting us and for their dedicated service to the community. This is an organization that I've known about for some time. As some of you know, from 1988 to 1991, I was executive director of the Chicago Jobs Council, and one of the organizations that we worked closely with then was the Lawrence Hall School for Boys, which is now Lawrence Hall, and serving young women as well as young men. I want to thank the leaders who are here with us today, and we share their commitment to building a safer and more equitable Cook County, and we're grateful for their support. Now, I would ask Commissioner Bill Lowry to say a few words, and he has another commitment, so he'll be leaving us, but before he goes, he will introduce Senator Robert Peters, who has also joined us.
Let me first say thank you to our president, Toni Preckwinkle. Like Lawrence Hall, you serve children and families and communities every day, and we are truly fortunate to have you as our leader. I am Bill Lowry, Cook County Commissioner of the 3rd District, and I'm so pleased to be here today for this announcement of the Cook County's Justice Advisory Council support of the Lawrence Hall Recidivism Reduction Program. During my first term as Commissioner, I have become very familiar with Lawrence Hall and your work in our community, and I was glad to join all of you to collaborate with you last November during your community food giveaways. it's important for our neighbors to receive meals and support as we all endure the ongoing pandemic that we term COVID-19. I want to recognize all of the Lawrence Hall staff members and volunteers, including CEO Kara Teeple, for the incredible and impactful work that you do for our community. And I want to thank all the participants of Lawrence Hall programming for your commitment and your service to our children, to our families, to our communities. Now, many of us here know that the violence plaguing our neighborhoods is a symptom of a much larger problem, a profound lack of community resources, combined with the scarcity of gainful employment and under-resourced schools. All of this leaving few viable options for our citizens to truly thrive. This is especially true for our youth, many of whom turn to engaging in certain activities because they believe it is the only possible option for survival. We have to acknowledge the fact that Cook County is home to both those who receive an abundance of social and economic resources, while there are far too many, specifically in our 3rd district here, who continue to endure systemic neglect while living in under-resourced neighborhoods. Unfortunately, this neglect, which has burdened our communities for generations, has left many of our youth spiraling on pathways that often leave them behind bars, entering a seemingly endless cycle of incarceration. We know that black youth are detained at a significantly higher rate in comparison to all other racial groups. In 2018, 70% of all admissions to JTDC were black youth. And as I speak with you here today, 75.4% of the detainees in Cook County Jail are African American. And of that 75.4%, 96.1 are African American men. That is our clarion call. That is why we need Lawrence Hall. Without systems, organizations, and funding to help our youth to ensure that they have a future beyond bars, it seems inevitable that our youth who find themselves behind bars will likely never truly receive the new start they deserve. But I'm hopeful that with the necessary resources, such as the resources we're talking about today, and the support that we're here to give our youth, that tomorrow will be a brighter tomorrow for them. Growing up on the Chicago South Side, I understand the import of family, faith, and the community. I want the youth in our communities to dream as big as their hearts desire, and I want them to reach their own levels of genius. Jay-Z says that there's genius in all of us. There is genius in all of our youth. And I want them to reach that level of genius without the fear of becoming another statistic, which is why I'm proud to stand here today in solidarity and support of Lawrence Hall's recidivism reduction work on Chicago's South Side. This grant is going directly to the community, our community, the same community that refuses to abandon our youth and leave them behind. Community-based organizations like Lawrence Hall receiving support from our Justice Advisory Council is a necessary step in the right direction both today and tomorrow. As commissioner, I pledge to continue to work to support solutions that reduce the juvenile and adult jail populations, to support programs that reduce recidivism and reintegrate our returning citizens back into our community. I commend Lawrence Hall for doing this generational work, as together we breathe life into the mission of Lawrence Hall by instilling resilience and healing while changing the lives of our at-risk youth and their families for good. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Lawrence Hall, for your extremely good work. So it is now my pleasure to bring up my brother and my colleague, Senator Robert Peters. He's got to get ready.
Okay. All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm State Senator Robert Peters of the 13th District. I think about this moment as a period of three crises. We have a pandemic, an economic crisis, a crisis when it comes to structural racism in our world. And oftentimes when we face crises in this country and in this place, we throw the hammer of criminalization. We've been doing that for 30 to 40 years, and it's not working. We're seeing the results of that hammer this summer. We're seeing it in headlines every Monday over and over again. All of us are sick and tired of seeing the same thing happen over and over again. No matter where you live, no matter your zip code, you want to feel that sense of safety. You want to feel that you're protected and looked out for. It's not going to happen by continuing the same practices. It's going to happen when we start investing in people, when we start giving them what they need. People want to be able to have a roof over their head. They want to have food on their table. They want to be able to see their family. They want to feel invested in. This investment, the $200,000, the work of JAC, the work of Lawrence Hall, is a pathway to that level of investment. It's a pathway to bringing real safety and justice to every community, no matter your zip code. When we think about public safety in Chicago and Cook County, it is not one that should be a privilege. It should be something afforded to everybody. After years of seeing schools close, people foreclosed on, evictions at a high rate, the closure of hospitals, it is time for us to turn the clock, and this is a pathway to turning that clock. Whether it's at the state level, the county level, or the city level, we all must work together to ensure this for everybody in the state of Illinois. So I'm honored to be here to support this. I believe that this is the good work that needs to happen coming out of the last 16 to 17 months. I think it's something that we can build on top of, and let's think of this as a kernel that we need to continue to water so that it may flower into something beautiful, just like our communities. So thank you, and next up, I would like to bring up Commissioner Stan Moore.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I want to first thank our President Toni Preckwinkle. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bill Lowry, thank you for inviting me to your district. It borders my district, but I believe that the people of this district are very well served by having a good commissioner that cares like you. Thank you. And Senator Robert Peters, thank you for your comments. You know, the issue that I see each and every day is people are afraid to come to the South Side. We have to stop being afraid to come to the South Side. The South Side is a beautiful place to live, work, and to shop. There are beautiful people here, just like everywhere else in the entire city. One of the issues that we've seen is disinvestment. People are not investing into our community as they did it once before. So I want to thank President Preckwinkle and JAC for investing in our community. That is what is needed. The YMCA, there's only one YMCA in our entire South Side. The Boys Club and Girls Club has left Chicago. Our kids have nothing to do. There's no more midnight basketball. There's no more programs. There's nothing for our children to do. And what does my mother always say? The idle mind is the devil's playground. We have to give our children things to do. We have to keep them active, engaged, and invested. They have to participate in things to keep them out of trouble. I see Pastor Corwin Lazenby from Pilgrim Baptist Church. Thank you, sir, for being here. They are pillars of the community that fight each and every day to make sure that people are served in this community. I want to thank Lawrence Hall for the work that you're doing, and I want to ask you to keep it up and to turn it up. So thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. Cook County Commissioner Stanley Moore.
Thank you. All right, Sean Mcginnis, who's Chief Program Officer, I believe is our next speaker. Sean?
Sorry, guys. Masks are not beard friendly, but very important. Good morning. Sean Mcginnis, Lawrence Hall's Chief Program Officer. On behalf of our CEO, Kara Teeple, our Board of Trustees, and the entire Lawrence Hall family, I'd like to welcome you all to our South Shore location. I'd also like to thank President Preckwinkle, the Justice Advisory Council, I see our good friend Avik Das has come in, and all the elected officials here today for supporting our efforts to make a positive and lasting impact on the south side of Chicago. Annually serving over 1,400 youth and families, Lawrence Hall is a social service agency that fosters resilience, healing, and hope in Chicago's youth and families through therapeutic education, residential treatment, workforce development, transitional living, and foster care. These programs have been the backbone of our trauma-informed care, and we are honored to have partnered with so many children and young adults on their journey to healing. In 2015, Lawrence Hall embarked on a journey to become more community-based and partner with families before they entered DCFS and the juvenile justice system. Thanks to great partnerships and the support of the community, we've been able to expand our service array on South Shore and strengthen the communities that our kids live in. We now serve nearly 350 youth annually from this location, providing employment services, mentoring, therapy, restorative justice, and social emotional learning. One of our greatest assets has been the wisdom to hire from the South Shore community, credible messengers who have lived similar experiences to the youth we work with. One of these amazing leaders is Aaron Brown, our Jack case manager. Aaron's vision, and his vision was what created this program for us, was to show youth from the South Shore neighborhood different experiences that promote hope, healing, and a healthier path forward in life. We are honored that the Justice Advisory Council supports Aaron's recidivism reduction model and entrusts Lawrence Hall to guide that vision of sharing a path forward for youth involved in the justice system. With that, I'm pleased to introduce Aaron Brown.
How y'all doing today? Okay, the JACK program was created to give youth who grew up in communities where poverty and unequal opportunities exist a chance to experience life outside of their zip code. This program introduces experiences and activities to youth who don't know the world outside of their communities. We aim to break the stigma against mental health and introduce therapeutic and clinical services to this population. The JACK program focuses on youth 14 to 26 who have been involved in the justice system. We aim to target those who have recently been released so they can begin services as soon as incarceration ends. While growing up, I had the same mentality as the youth who participated in this program. But once I began my career at Lawrence Hall, I had the ability to learn about trauma, mental health, and barriers placed upon those communities similar to the one I grew up in. I understand that our community doesn't take well to change and shifting the mindset of minority men and women. Through the JACK program here at Lawrence Hall, we provide a creative approach that will expose youth to new experiences. Typically, one wouldn't consider a boat cruise on Lake Michigan or a day trip to Six Flags a cultural immersion experience. But for the youth that's in our program, it is. The youth here are given opportunities to feel safe, meet others with similar backgrounds, and participate in fun activities and heal from trauma that they've endured over the years. I have one of those youth here with me today. His name is Cortez Ellis.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
My name is Cortez, and when I grew up, you consider lucky to make it to see 21. But I beat the odds and the system. I'm 24 years old, and in my short time on this earth, I already lost 24 people that I consider close to me. So many of them died at a young age and did not even get the chance or the opportunity to live a full life. The trauma that I went through and the negative experiences that put me in a survival mode at a young age, I dreamed of doing better. But that was a difference. It was a difference where I come from and the community around me. Those experiences that put me in a mental, hold on, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. Take your time. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Okay, stop right. Okay, those experiences put me in the mindset that seems like a lose-lose situation. I got wrapped up in the wrong crew and started doing bad because of my choices and the people I was around. I even got arrested to face my consequences and my actions. I was offered 33 years at 85%, which will have me end up coming home out of jail when I'm 50, and I was 20 years old when I went in. I thought about how I never would have the opportunity to go to prom. I thought about the opportunity of not graduating out of high school. I would never have the chance to get married. I would never have the opportunity to even see my young siblings grow up. This crushed me when I was in jail every day because I would be missing out on life experiences that other people take for granted. I want more for my life, but I didn't know how I was going to start. I don't know how I was going to start this journey towards a new path. I fought my case for 3 years and even received a deal of 12 at 50. When I was released from prison, I spoke with Lawrence Hall, Aaron Brown, about the direction I want to take with my life. At the time, he introduced me to the Jack program at Lawrence Hall. Honestly, it has been the best time of my life. I have never gone on a boat trip on Lake Michigan or ziplining in my life. But this program have provided me the options to proceed in my life where I needed to be. I never thought I would be enjoying therapy as much as I do here. I have in the past month of my life, but this has been a good life experience. When I got out of jail, I knew I would never go back. I want to do better with my life, but now I can actually say I made it to meet you guys. Thank you.
Well done, young man. All right. You did fine. You did fine. All right. I think next are questions. Is that right? Thank you. Hello? Yes, please.
Your question for President Preckwinkle or anybody. What data do Cook County and Lawrence Hall rely on to support a link between positive experiences like trips and attractions and violence prevention among youth?
All right. So I'm going to ask a staff person from Lawrence Hall. The question is, what's the relationship between providing young people with new experiences and expanding their horizons and successful outcomes?
Yeah, I'll take it. All right, how you doing again? I'm Aaron Brown, for those on the phone. So growing up, all I knew was my 4 to 8 block radius, the same as Cortez. We grew up the same exact way, as well as the other youth in the program. So all I seen was the violence in the community, the disinvestment. I've seen men not supporting younger youth, and I wanted to be just like them. The disrespected women, they had the nice cars, nice clothes, but they wasn't the real men that I wanted to follow. But I didn't know any better at the time. But once I got out of my box and traveled, my first place traveling honestly was probably Indiana. That's not far, but like most of the youth that's in the program told us, we had a conversation. They said the most places they ever traveled was when they was incarcerated, traveling to different prisons. And man, they like when you get out of that box and you doing positive things, when you come back, you don't want to be in that same space. The goal for Jack, for me, was to get these youth to go out of the country, like to Brazil or Africa, and help build schools and to see what poverty really looks like. And when you come back and you see where you used to stand, you'll want to do something better with yourself. Like just with the same way with me when I was younger, I only wanted to do negative things in my area. But once I expanded my horizon, when I came back, standing on a block just wasn't for me no more. I knew I had more to give to life. I knew my life meant more than just a few blocks. So these experiences, it made me believe that I can do more. Even meeting with the mayor when I was younger, that made me believe that I can be somebody. So certain experiences does affect how you view the world.